we go. Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Brubaker, and this is Career Search Lunch and Learn. A Career Search networking group. Our goal is to give you the tips, the tricks, the tools, and the support to help you move from this group to whatever that next forever job looks like for you. And I meant it when I said next forever job. I don't believe in forever jobs anymore. Companies don't, you don't either. You are the one who has to be in charge of your career. And we're here to give you that support in order to do it. I am a career coach, career transitions coach, career transitions strategist, I think is really where I'm going to go with this, because what I'm looking at is ways to help you discover what your skills are. And you all have so many transferable skills, and then package them in a way that shows other people what you can do for them. It's all about turning your what you can do, into what works for somebody else, into somebody else's why. And that's what this is all about. So I've been doing this kind of career strategy work now for the last 9 years. And in those 9 years, we're now up to 950 people who've gotten offers. I tell you that only as a way of establishing credibility. What I'm telling you is that the information that we provide you in this group, we know works. It's based on not only our own experience, it's based on what we learned from you. It's based on my past 30 years of experience in human resources as a recruiter, a hiring manager, a talent acquisition manager, an external recruiter, and all of this career search coaching that I've been doing. It's also based on the latest research that we do with all of our colleagues, with the professional organizations, with those people who are actually doing the work that you want to be able to connect with. So we're making sure that we're giving you information that we know works to help you move forward. So that's me. I want to let Ken and Sue also introduce themselves, and then we'll go around the room and do some more stuff.
Hi, everyone. Kenneth Lang from Wayne, New Jersey. Just did something which I think is always a great idea. I renamed my name with where I'm located and something about myself. I think that's a really good idea for any group that you're on. If you don't know how to do it, you can go to the three dots on the top right of your picture and do that. I'm a job scam fighter. Many of you know I've been putting these out all the time. And I think it's always a great idea, especially when you have the ability to, if you save, even if you save this picture or something, put it up there, people will actually be able to see more about you. So what I'm going to do, I think from now on is come up with a little bit of a tip. One tip every time we get together is something that's very
Yay!
actionable. And this one I
Yay!
actually learned, I think, first from Christopher in Detroit, Brenda Miller. I think it's a great way to position yourself. So happy to be here, everyone, and Sue, take it away.
Thanks. I love that you're doing a tip a week too, because you would think that Ken and Linda and I, in that talk before the recording started, had coordinated this because I want to talk about posting and commenting. Now, I know that some of you have seen that I was looking at your profile today. If you were here the last time I talked about this, I go to the Linda's YouTube channel, and I open up the page that has all the videos. It's usually the first screen. And I'll introduce myself in a minute, but I want to get to your tip first. The important thing, because Ken's talking about posting, is today I was looking at, are people up to date? Now, look, I know you're searching. I know how busy you are. I'm retired, but I have a pretty full-time business, and I can't get everything done. So I'm not using any value judgment, as I say every time I do this. It was a non-random sample, randomly chosen of those who had video on and had their names there, which were very helpful. Many of you, well, let's just say, not quite half of you had about 9 or 10 months between posts. You posted once, hadn't posted for a while, or you just posted a month ago. More of you were more likely to have sporadic posts or a lot of reposts, but not necessarily with any comments. And some of you are posting once a week. So I'm going to give you the ideal, and then I'm going to tell you what you're really going to be able to do every week. Because I'm not going to be the pot calling the kettle black. I don't always post every week. This week I had several things to post about. All right, so post weekly. Ken already said repurpose content. You all are experts. People that I see that are in the chat, Marianne just reminded everybody she's the global gal on immigration. Like, she's got so much experience to tell us from her viewpoint of a global career and now sitting in global California, which it very much is. All right, so you can't post weekly or you run out of ideas. Comment. I also noticed how few of you are commenting. Now, for the past 3 or 4 years, the little we know about the algorithm says 15 words or more. Make it substantive. Don't just write congratulations. You've all heard this before. But also, when you repost or post or write a comment, tell people what's working or give them what your experience is. I will often say to someone, I agree with that. I've found among my global audience, we talk about professional branding rather than personal branding for this reason. So I'm not saying I don't agree. I mean, I'm not going to get on stage with a big expert like Ken and say, I don't agree with you. I know I could, Ken. I know. I'm just being lighthearted about it. Because what you do then is put your expertise out there. You're all job seeking. And there was a post today from Christoph Schoenertz, I think that's how he says his name in my best German. He said recruiters and people who are looking for your profile from being maybe surfacing in the top 10 for jobs, they are not going to your profile to look. They are going to search among those 10 candidates or 200 for some keywords. And then they're going to start looking. And one place they look is your headline. One place they look is your activity. So we can go on and on from there, but we won't today. But I'll just tell you, let us know. And I'm going to be watching. I'm not going to be watching. I'm going to be happily engaging. And if you are a little uncomfortable and you think no one will react, like yesterday I put a slide up, the first slide of my talk I gave last night to a membership group. And like no one even liked it for 10 hours. And I thought, okay, well, LinkedIn's not showing it. So if you feel uncomfortable, tag me in it and say, Sue, is this what you were talking about? Or Sue, whatever you want. Because Linda and I and Ken, that was bad grammar, are here to celebrate. So that brings me to those who don't know me. There's a few new names today I haven't seen. I'm the mentor with pom-poms, and we now have branded pom-poms for L&L. So thank you for Linda for letting me always give a tip. And I have a list of them and more we're going to be talking about in the future, like your banner and your headline. We'll get there. But as Ken says, he's also going to be bringing tips. And Ken, I love the fact that you stress the name, because I find so many people forget that the Zoombox name, it's in front of everybody in the chat and on the screen for an hour or a half an hour. Talk about name recognition.
Yeah, every time someone comes up on the screen, you know exactly who they are, exactly what they do.
Exactly.
Right.
And not only that, it's that name that shows up in the chat.
That's true, exactly.
You're branding yourself throughout the meeting and afterwards. So that's really important. So here's my tip for the day, is not just
Yay,
do.
yay, yay.
I love this. Okay. What I want to see is you all really remembering to be yourselves. The idea about, I'm going to build on Sue's about the comments. Okay. Because how important they are. We know that they make sense, not just for you, but they make sense for everybody else. We're looking at those. They show up on your profile in your activity section. But when you make a post, posts are great ways to demonstrate your expertise. Comments, though, demonstrate that expertise to a much broader audience. They get visibility now, not just for your connections or the people that LinkedIn surfaces for you, and we still don't know how that works, but it also surfaces that comment to everyone who reads the original post. And I'm finding, I know Ken, with that one post, you're getting lots of engagement on that post. I'm seeing lots of engagement, lots of impressions for some of the comments that I make on other people's posts. So that's a great way to increase your visibility. And as a recruiter, a hiring manager, a networking partner, I'm looking at all of those comments to see what you see, to see you share your expertise. And there's so many different ways that you can do it. So if you're uncomfortable about posting, you've got a great commenting strategy available. So You can start even today. What nuggets did you pick up? What things are you going to be doing? Let's share those as well. Perfect. Okay. We are now going to start the actual meeting itself. I'm going to go around and try and say hello to people. So if I miss you, I apologize. If I say your name wrong, I apologize. And Marianne, we will get to you in just a minute. Okay, so I want to say hi to Marianne, to Sue, to Aaron, to Ken, to Al, Amy, two Amy's. Excuse me. I see Antonia. I see Audrey, Karina, Carolyn, Charles, Christina, excuse me, Christian, Daniel, David, three Davids, Dominique, Ellen, Jason, two Jasons, Jim, John, and another John, Juliet, Karen, Kate, Kelly, Kim Lavery, Lisa Beth, Logan, Lorena, Ludi. Thanks for your message this morning, Ludi. Mary, Michael, another Mike, three Michaels, Michelle, Nancy, Richard, Rachel, Scott, Sherilyn, Susan, and another Susan, Tony, and Victor. If I missed anyone, I apologize. If I mispronounced your name, I apologize. Okay, but I wanted to say hi and welcome to everybody. If you're new and you want to make sure that you introduce yourself, you can do that as well. We'll try and get a couple of you introduced. But now we're going to start, for those of you who are new and don't understand the way that we do this, we are going to start with some quick wins. So if you've had a quick win, and if you've been in this group before, you know that a quick win doesn't necessarily mean that, yay, you got a job, although we would love that and love to be able to celebrate that. It's somebody who you tried something new, you got an interview, you made a new networking connection, you got a rejection, but you had the interview. Doesn't matter what it is, something that you consider a win, something that maybe took you out of your comfort zone, something that you tried, we want to be able to celebrate you. So I'm going to bring, if you raise your digital hands, I'm going to bring you up on screen. And what I'm going to do is, as you're doing that, okay, you see yourself on screen, just go ahead and, in the order in which you're up there, go share your win.
Ken and Linda, I'm glad you got the memo about wearing red today. Anyway, and they go with Sue's glasses, so that counts too. So I had an awesome interview. I got a verbal offer and I verbally accepted. And then they said, you have to go through a background check. And I've heard nothing since. So when I've done background checks before, someone usually sends me a link and I have to fill out information, etc. That didn't happen this time. So I'm wondering if this is another thing I should be concerned about, which I'm pretty much concerned about. I'm not going to stop looking because it was a contract role for 6 months, but I got so excited that I had this great interview. They loved my experience, etc. They're downtown San Francisco. It's an easy commute because I don't want to commute to the South Bay. And then things just stopped. So I'm kind of bummed. So I don't know where I stand, and it's a little unnerving. Any advice from anybody?
Yeah. So first question would be, how long ago was the offer? And when they said that they were
Last
going to check?
Thursday.
Then I wouldn't worry. Okay.
Not worried? Okay.
No, a lot of these background checks take a lot longer because they have to go through automated processes or
Right.
it's computer systems. Many of them are no longer asking you for specific information because you've already provided it. If they need additional, they will check.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what you could do is, if you're concerned, reach out to the recruiter and say, is there any additional information you need in order to complete the background check?
I've already done that.
Okay.
I may be too eager. That's my concern.
I was going to say, then at this point, I would leave it alone.
Okay, fine.
Okay. But here's the other nugget. Don't stop looking.
Right.
Even once you start that contract job, we know that, just like anything else, even though it may be an employment at will state, even though you have a written contract, contracts can go away at any time.
Right.
And you want to be prepared so that you're always the one in charge of your career when things are going.
Got it. Very
So
helpful.
perfect. Congratulations. Share
Thank
with
you.
us when you can.
I will.
All right. David.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. Marianne, how did you find the job?
Through Robert Half. They have a whole legal department,
Yep.
and I've worked with them before. And I had somebody from them reach out to me and said, send us an updated resume. You're the kind of person we normally get roles like this. And within a week, I found a role that was really right on for me, and I applied for it. And like the next day, they're like, "We want to interview you." But it all happened very quickly. So now that things are slowing down, I'm a little concerned. But I'll just let it go, you know?
Yep. Keep looking and
Yep.
yes. All right. Keep us
Great.
posted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, David.
Well, my interesting story is on Monday I had a virtual interview for a patient service representative position with Quantum Health, and as soon as that interview ended, I got an in-person interview scheduled, and that's going to take place tomorrow.
Congratulations. And how did you find that job, David?
I found it out from partially through my own volition, and I sort of worked found this one guy at this one job center. He said that what I'll do is I'll help you find jobs, and if I find something you like that I think you'll be good for, you apply for it, and I'll recommend you for it.
Excellent.
So he found it for me, and I applied for it, told him about it, and it was a big help to me. So I thank him for that.
Perfect. So that direct application. Perfect. Thank you. Keep us posted.
You're welcome.
TJ.
So I had a second round interview, but let's first back up. I had a second round interview on Friday, and they offered the job, but I declined it because it was only 3 months, and I already have a stable, something that it wouldn't add anything to the resume. They ended up calling me 7 times after I rejected it, and gave me a counteroffer. Okay, and then today I got rejected for the position that I was really wanting, which kind of stung. But last night I met with a CIO or COO, I believe it was, in the IT industry, and he's going to take me under his wing, and we're going to do a little bit more job searching with that.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. A mentor is wonderful. Good for you. And by the way, good for you for turning down a job that wasn't going to be the right fit for you. That's a really important thing, to be able to give yourself permission to do that. Remember, you're the one who's in charge of your own career, and if it's not the right fit, keep looking until you can find the one that is.
Mm-hmm. And I want to also say 70% of my profile views are from comments, so
Yep.
they work.
They absolutely work. Thank you for sharing that, TJ. But they really do work. So, guys, it's an easy thing to do. Perfect. Thank you. Lisa Beth.
So this has been a big 2 weeks of wins and changes. I revamped my resume and cover letters from square one, started over, rephrased everything, came up with positioning myself very different than I ever thought about myself. I worked with Linda for a bit on part of it, and then I also did something very different. I went back and forth, and I made ChatGPT and Claude go against each other. And I gave them the same information back and forth and came up with something that worked out to be very successful. The end result, and then I'm going to back up and give everyone the information so it maybe will help other people. The end result was the resumes and cover letters went out, and within an hour, I received requests for interviews. So, and I will be doing that 3 out of 3. So there's that. Here's what came out of the work that I did with ChatGPT and Claude. I came up with a personal playbook and a way of thinking about myself that I never, ever even looked at, which was how I've been branding myself. I've always branded myself as a fundraiser. And actually, that's not really who I am. I'm a creator, and I'm someone who starts something from scratch when something didn't exist before. It came up with a playbook talking about who I am, ways to tell my story, 10 different ways based on who I'm meeting with, what are the best words to describe myself, how to go about talking about the story for each different industry, ways to write a cover letter based on those different industries. It's a 15-page playbook. And granted, it's not the end all be all, but it is very helpful. I'm happy to share it with other people. It came up with what are your executive strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the ways to best communicate what you're trying to do depending on who your audience is? And kind of things that differentiate you from others. What fits your voice? Words to avoid using that could not be great based on your industry or comparing yourselves to others. So it was great, and I'm excited about where this may lead.
Wonderful. Lisa, can you share those prompts maybe in our private group?
I can, but here's what I will also share. I am very much a beginner, so it's a lot more of me I'm honest, shouting, saying, "You're not listening to me. This is not what I'm asking you to do. Can you please rephrase?" But I have learned from, I admit it, I'm starting to pay more attention to social media, to use something called Red Team. If you're not familiar with what that means, at the end of with using, it works with ChatGPT, not so much, it works somewhat with Claude. If you use REDTEAM, and I will put it in the chat, it makes the AI go back and review everything as if it was an executive team reviewing every single thing that you're doing and look at it from the highest level and come back and assess everything. There's also one to have it do it from a military level. There's a bunch of different codes. I will give you those. And then I'll also give you the person that I've been following who every day gives you 10 different codes as to how to reprogram the AI to have it do exactly what you're asking it for without having to give it all the different prompts at the highest levels. So it's been working. So that's what I'm sharing. I'm
Congratulations.
excited about this new direction and actually thinking about myself in a way that I never ever thought about, but clearly is really who I am. And it's also changed my perception of myself in terms of me socially. So I'm excited about it.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Michelle.
Excellent. Good afternoon, I guess, everyone. My name is Michelle Dowling Johnson, and this is the first time actually for me on this call. So good to meet you all.
Welcome.
I am a Chief Marketing and Growth Officer, so my sweet spot is differentiating and scaling consumer lifestyle brands across beauty, wellness, and food and beverage. I have had experience at brands such as Revlon, L'Oreal, Bluemercury, and Dean & DeLuca, so working both on the brand side as well as specialty retail. My most recent role was heading up North American marketing, chief marketing officer for a brand called Norwex, which was headquartered in Dallas, Texas, and was a clean and sustainable household cleaning products brand committed to reducing harmful chemicals in the home. In terms of what I'm seeking next is a head of marketing role for a consumer lifestyle brand. I do live in the New York metro area, but I'm open geographically. My win today, and this rarely happens, so I was very pleased with it, is I applied to something on LinkedIn. It was a CMO role, and I looked to see who I knew and reached out to that person to set up time. They were a former CEO of this company and now on the board. And I had a conversation with that person. And then at the end of it, I brought up that there was this role and I really would like to be connected into the role. He said, well, you have to talk to this person who was the HR person who's handling the search. I have a very good relationship with him. So I reached out to him and he said, well, if you're a friend of this guy, then I absolutely want to speak to you. So I had an interview with him today and I'm meeting with the CEO sometime later this week or early next week. And Nothing may happen, but so many times when I try to network in somewhere, I can't get in. But this sort of all the things happen that they're supposed to happen. So even if it doesn't move forward, minimally the fact that all the pieces connected was somewhat satisfying. And so that was really good. And it was also just good to actually have your application move forward because I had applied to this company 2 weeks, pardon me, before I had this conversation and of course had heard nothing. So kind of typically when I apply to LinkedIn and I don't have a connection, nothing really moves forward. So good news from that front. But good to meet you all. And I did put in my LinkedIn in the chat. Would love to connect.
Perfect. So one quick thing, I heard lots of great things there. One of which is if you're finding the job, find the job wherever you find it, but apply on the company site. Don't apply directly through LinkedIn.
I did on this one, but totally tracking with you.
Right. And the reason for that is that it gets to the recruiter much faster. And we know that. You did some great things in terms of being able to do that networking. You've already applied, so you're telling him you're interested in this kind of a role. You didn't ask him to recommend you. He did it on his own. Your materials are already there. He knows you. You've got that reputation. That's a fantastic way of doing it. So congratulations. Keep us posted.
Thank you.
You're next, Hillary. Nope.
I see Nancy on
I'm sorry.
stage.
Did I say it wrong? I did.
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
Nancy. Hi. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
Nancy.
I'm looking over on my other screen and it says Hillary or something else. So,
I wanted to comment. I had a serious concern about the background check. Nancy Demis, been in marketing communications until a family tragedy hit, and I've been transitioning into nonprofit. To that end, I've been trying to do volunteer work, and I guess I've had about 3, 4, or 5 background checks in the past year. And I've never had a background check where I didn't have to give my authorization. It's not really personal. It's where you live, how long have you lived there. But I've always had to sign it, and I get an official document back about what they've said about me and what they've checked. And I think I'm kind of knowledgeable about this now. So I don't know if they're allowed to do this without giving you, the company or something like that. Secondly, a little tidbit, I brought this up in another session. I was on Glassdoor, and it was sort of a volunteer job too, nothing high level to the point. And Glassdoor said, "Are you a match?" And it said, "Yeah, I am a match, and why don't you change this sentence and that sentence, and this would be better." And then I used the same similar job to try it again, basically with the same requirements. It said basically the same thing, but it did tweak something. So that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I use Copilot.
yep. So there are lots of AI tools out there. So keep looking.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about the background check. So sometimes when you fill out an application, you have given them permission to do a background check. There's something on the application box that says it. Companies are not required to tell you what that background check said. They should be asking you for permission to do the background check. Okay, telling you that they're going to be doing it. But they are not required to tell you what it is, what was said. Okay, so those that do, that's fantastic. And usually background check really is that. It's checking to make sure that the information you've provided is real. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that too, but I've always had the option on the form that they send me, do I want it or not? It's never an option that I can't get it. Yeah, do you agree, Richard? Yeah, I've never had not had the option in the checkbox and to know who the company was. Yeah.
What do you mean know who the company was? Company doing the background check or the company that you were applying to?
The company doing the background check, I always know who that was. And I've had literally 5 in a short time span, and each from even volunteer work. And I get sent something, that, they tell me that there's going to be a background check. I say, okay. And then they follow up with something and I fill it out and I sign it, auto pen. And then I get it back in like 1 or 2 days and it says what they've checked. I mean, I just got one 2 days ago.
That's great.
In fact, for some training, and I have to leave early because I'm doing some training for this volunteer work. Yeah, so I've never heard of not what in writing.
Yeah, often it's part of the application process. You are automatically authorizing it when you submit the application. But yes, the best practice is to tell you up front and have you sign it then. Keep us posted on the rest. Congratulations and thank you. Okay, next. Richard.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
We're good.
So I had a slight little win. A former coworker of mine reached out to me because I had left her voicemail. God, it was like 2, 3 weeks ago, and I guess she had been trying to call my old phone, my old company phone, and found out that it was disabled. So yesterday I spoke with her and we had a good conversation about 15, 20 minutes long. And she said that her company is looking for someone with my background, which I thought was really great. It's in the parking industry. I have 2 other coworkers that work there, so I'm hoping it's a good thing. So we shall see. But it's going to be probably maybe a couple weeks. I have to wait.
A couple of weeks isn't terrible in the time span of this job market.
No, I'm hoping not. But I also wanted to make a comment on the applying on LinkedIn versus the company. I agree with you. However, what I also do see is a lot of companies will not post the position on their website, but rather through LinkedIn because it's easier.
So be careful, because sometimes those are not real jobs.
And that's the tough part.
Okay, so if they're posted only on, putting on my recruiter hat, okay, I have to pay to post it on LinkedIn.
Oh.
I do not have to pay to post it on my own internal site. Most companies, if they have career sites on their pages or in their system, they are required to post it there unless it is a confidential position.
Interesting.
Okay. So when companies are not posting it on their own, if they have a career site and they are not posting it on their career site, but they are posting it on LinkedIn, to me, that's a bit of a concern.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
But absolutely.
I just put in the chat, Richard, did you look to see if they have a LinkedIn company page?
Yep.
Yes, they do.
And do they list any jobs there? Anything else there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a legitimate site. I've already come across my fill of scammers this week.
Okay.
Okay.
Better safe than sorry.
Thank you.
But absolutely better safe than sorry. But keep us posted.
Will do.
Jason.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give it's a win, but an example of moving from digital to in-person. So LinkedIn to in-person meetings from a networking perspective. A couple months back, I found somebody in my field, but who I don't know personally on LinkedIn, who happens to be local, reached out and just basically sent a quick, nothing about me or a job or any of that. Just, would you be interested in getting to know each other a little bit more? We're in the same industry, et cetera, et cetera. He responded back saying, sure. So we ended up meeting. This was probably 4 or 5 months ago. We met at that time, introduced each other in person, which was really great. We connected and built great rapport. But then we decided to do coffee meetings every other month or once every 2 months based on schedule. So since from then until now, we've been meeting. So yesterday, I think was maybe the 5th time or so I met with him. He actually is he just got promoted at the company, which I will leave off at the moment. But he just got promoted into a new role, which is actually a leadership position. He's running the marketing department both domestically and internationally for the company. He's not title-wise CMO or any of that, but that's the sort of responsibility that he has. So I think that's just kind of further proof of job titles don't always mean everything. Um, but he, in the role, as many, I think, leaders do for the good or the bad reasons, is in a position where he is evaluating what's working, what's not working, and trying to make changes. So eventually, probably resulting in a reorg, which is probably the unfortunate, kind of sad part of this, but business at the end of the day. So he's trying to do this, and he knows about my background. So yesterday, I basically had very lightly, in a very kind of indirect way, had hinted that, it'd be great if, based on his changes that he makes, if they get to the point where they open up headcount, that I would be interested in having further discussion. So he said to me after that, what prospectively, if you were to come in, what level role, what title role would you be interested in coming in as? And I just gave him a very general answer, almost anything, but here's a little bit more about my background. And I gave him job titles and responsibilities and like that from the past. So I didn't lock myself into anything specific, given that there will be future headcount at some point. And he then said, I'd like you to meet, person A and B. And so I was texting with him this morning, and he said, this person is currently on PTO, but let me connect with them when they're back, and we'll find time for you to meet with them. And then eventually he's going to have me meet, excuse me, with a second person. So it's a win in different ways, but it's also, I think, an example of like for me, just coming into the original meetings and every meeting since where it's not about me and it has nothing to do with my job search, it has nothing to do with, financials or any of that. It's 100% him, and learning about him and his team. And it just, may not always happen, but it happened, I think slowly it's playing out, hopefully in a positive way. Um, though it hasn't resulted in anything right now, there's some hope after meeting with him yesterday. The other thing, lastly, I was just going to say about this is that, I think in those sort of situations, if you've built rapport with somebody, either virtually or in person, and over a period of time, they actually are willing to meet with you, you know, time and time again, there's kind of like a subtle message of, if he didn't want to meet with me or if he wasn't interested, he would just say no, thanks, but no. So the fact that, I'm working around his schedule and he's still willing to meet up every once in a while, I look at it as a positive as well.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Congratulations. So taking those meetings offline is a great thing too. So here's one of the other things. We talk a lot about how active the chat is and the information that's in the chat that we forget. Not only are we going to put the chat in our private group, but you should copy the chat as well and then run it through your own preferred AI version. Pull out the nuggets, pull out the information. I was talking to one of you last week who said that one of the things that he's done is when he goes through the chat, he pulls out location. So he looks at those people to see where they are. And he's found several who are in his neighborhood. And he's had private meetings with them. They meet for coffee. It's another way of building your own accountability group, your own support group, your own networking group. There are lots of things that you can pull from that chat, as well as just from the generalized networking that we do. One of the things that always amazes me is that people talk a lot about networking, but nobody reaches out for connections, or very few people do. You know that one of the things that LinkedIn does best is build that spider web of connections. If you're connected, it's like family trees, right? You're connected to me. You are now connected to all of my connections who are connected to their connections. It's not necessarily that I know everybody, especially not those second and third level connections, but I can still give you the name. If it's somebody I know, I can make that introduction and suggest that you two talk. It's a better way of doing it rather than just that cold call. So please, I would love it if I got a minimum of one of you reaching out to me for one of those connections a week, a day, right? I would absolutely do it. Instead, I'm getting them maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months, and then it's only because I'm pushing and I'm asking. So don't make me ask for it. You ask us. Okay. All right. Anything else before we get started on the Q&A? Okay, we're in the Q&A section. This is ask any question that you have. We know that job search is tough and it always raises questions, and this is an open forum. So any questions that you might have, we're going to do our best to answer. If you have a question about any aspect of job search, the job market, anything else, please raise your digital hand and let's see what we can do.
I see a question from David in the chat. Should you email contacts before cold calling them if possible? And my answer would be it depends. Like so
Yep.
many other things, it depends on who the contact is, how long you've been in touch with them, what your relationship is. A lot of the things we're going to say is it depends. I mean, if you want to be a little more specific,
Yep. Dave, do you want to raise
that,
your hand and join us on screen to
that
talk
might
about
that
it?
might help. Yeah.
Dave, are you still in the room?
He's still in the room. I'm just looking to
He's on
see.
mute.
He's on mute.
Can you unmute David? Can you raise your
I'm just
digital hand?
asking this in general. I don't have any specific
Okay.
person I'm trying to reach. I just thought I should bring
Oh,
that
David
up.
Pryor. I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, generally, it's again, there are contacts I feel very close to, and I would email pretty quickly, most of the people in the group. But let's say there was a job at a company I wanted, and I had a first connection, and I connected with them 7 or 8 or 9 years ago, or they're a second connection. I don't know that I would just reach out to them right away. I might just check in or just kind of see how it goes, maybe find a post to comment on,
Mhm.
because they're not going to know you from a hole in the wall
Right.
with the email.
And I agree.
All right.
So that's one
Go
of the
ahead.
things in terms of the networking and asking for
Go
those
ahead,
connections.
David. Did you have
Sorry,
a
David.
follow-up?
Okay, I got it. It helps to comment on someone's LinkedIn post before contacting them. That's good to know. Thank
I
you.
mean, it's a good way to stay in touch, and it's a way for you to also possibly introduce yourself, and then at least you have that starting point.
Mhm. And remember, these networking conversations are more about them. So if you've made that comment, you've made that post, you've made that connection, it's easier to make a conversation about them rather than, hey, I'm looking for a job at your company. Can you help?
One comment I have for just generally about this strategy is, in my experience in the last year or two, people seem to be overwhelmed with email. They're reaching out to me more on DM, and I say, okay, email me your CV or whatever, or your resume. And then I get a follow-up email. Oh, a DM. And it's like they are on LinkedIn, so it's easier for them. So number one, we can get very few emails nowadays from LinkedIn, except if you're directly connected and if the person's put their email in there. Number two, people don't seem to read email as much as I use it, because if it's in my DMs, it falls off my radar. But that's just me. So I just want you to remember, it's not just one way, but I'll tell you over and over again what we've been talking about today. Engagement is noticed. Engagement is counted by the algorithm, by each of us that see it, by the long tail of posts where you've commented. 2 and 3 weeks later, I get something from someone in Kenya about an event that happened a month ago and said, oh, so-and-so liked your post or made a comment on, or my comments on comments. So I just want you to realize, David, there's different ways around it. So the advice Ken and Linda just gave you about cold calling versus emailing, I just want you to remember LinkedIn is an avenue that people seem to be more comfortable with. LinkedIn added some features. You can market the message unread to remind yourself, and you can also block any messaging people. I'm getting very few. I haven't gotten an email in months, Ken, but I'm not on premium. But I don't find people spending their money on their messaging to reach out to me. They reach out other ways, usually through sending a connection request. That's what I'm finding people who want to sell me something do. So thanks, David, for bringing up this opportunity and the example to let us talk about both the virtual world and the more direct world of meeting in person or wanting to meet in person personally.
Absolutely. So the idea is that engagement is really important. Reaching out to people on their comments is important because then you become a known commodity. If you want to make those networking connections because you are connected to somebody who's connected to, okay, reach out to us. We can give you the name. We may not be able to make that direct relationship link, but you can still use our name. You're a second level connection of so-and-so. She gave me your name. It's okay. That works.
You can also look to see if people have celebrated an anniversary or a birthday or something, and that's another way. It's kind of gotten buried a little bit where you can find it, but it's another way to reach out to people.
Absolutely.
Just celebrating anything like that, or just engaging that way.
Right. So the way that you find that is if you're looking at your network on LinkedIn, you'll see the invitations on the first page. That's what shows up. But if you see, let's see, that's the grow section. And then there's what's it called?
I'm going to look off to the side as you guys are chatting. I'm going to walk through this
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
I think those are great points.
Yeah, it's catch up.
It's called catch up.
Catch
Catch
up,
up, right.
You go to
So
catch
you
up.
can check there.
And that's a great way to reach out to people too. I mean, you just never know. And it's not, again, it's very few people take advantage of things like that.
Right. It's another way of staying in touch. Well, Sue mentioned the fact that we don't always have people's email addresses. So here's another thing that you should do. Because whether I'm a first level connection or not, whether you have your email in your contact information, and by the way, you should, make sure that your email address is in your about section. If I'm interested in talking with you, make it as easy as possible for me to do that. The other thing is, I highly recommend turning on your open messaging. I know that you're going to get more spam. I recognize that. But the same way that in-mails are limited, and LinkedIn by default says that the only people you can get messages from are those who are your first level connections, you're trying to broaden the people that can message you. So make it open messaging, make it open to everyone.
And possibly reach out to us. If we have a first connection, we know that first connection, and you want an introduction, that's a messaging thing. But again, I don't know if you don't tell me, and I'll do what I can. I think the same thing is about, Linda and Sue would agree with.
Absolutely. So we're more than happy to do that. In fact, that's one of the things that makes me feel good is being able to make those connections. But we're here if you want it, but you have to reach out.
I just want to recognize, and I didn't realize all three of us are in red, and Marianne mentioned that. But I also want to recognize that it's, what's 20 by 6? It's 6 years ago in a couple months. Ken, when I talked to you in May 2020, when you had you said, let's have a call, and you put your Calendly link in. And I was saying to him something about, recruiters finding us, helping people. And he said, Sue, you have to put your email in your about section. And so Linda repeated it today. It's something that for some reason people won't do. I know my spam is not coming from that because that email is the one that gets the least amount of spam. Right. It's coming from other places that I'm on LinkedIn. So listen to the very wise people who, at least for me, are on top of me in the Zoom boxes in red today, Ken and Linda. And this is longevity. This is experienced advice that works. I understand not everybody wants to share it, but here's the other thing. You can get, how many Gmails can you get? I have 7. Don't ask me, I'll tell you why later if you really want to know. But I have one just for subscriptions and shopping because I don't want to mix it up. Make up something like mine is Sue Shop Subs. If you want to write to me at that, you're welcome to. But I'm just saying, email addresses can be blinded to the extent you know that it might be used. You could make up your favorite type of hobby with your favorite type of dog or something. No one's going to ask because it doesn't have to look, quote, that professional. I might look at it and say, oh, you might want to change it if you're really job seeking, but don't be afraid to share your email right now. We all know how visible we are. We're trying to give you tips for visibility and making it easy for people to find you and reach out. And Ken and Linda are exactly right. Your about section, that's something that I can't even give a tip on that. We'd have to have a whole hour, Linda, hour and a half on an about section. And you and Ken probably are better positioned for that.
know
All right.
all of this, but I
Enough
agree.
on this. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm writing a comment about Banner because Banner's going to be next week for sure, but Ken's already talked about it. So let's start looking at our banners.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
make sure you have a banner behind you to market yourself
Oh,
with. Absolutely.
Please, not just the gray, but standard.
Did we look at, was it Ludi who had the question there? Did you, I was
Ludi, I
contacted.
haven't got it yet. So Ludi had a question. Ludi, would you like to join us on screen and talk about it?
Sure.
Can
So
you
I
raise your
was
hand so I can find
contacted
it?
by a recruiter and a headhunter, and he asked for a comprehensive career alignment document. And so I had no clue what that was. I put it in AI. I also included the job description that he provided and my resume, and it shot one out for me. So I just wanted to make sure that I've never heard of that kind of document before. And basically, the way I understood it is aligning it's kind of like a resume, but directly related to what they're looking for by commenting on all the different sections. Is that correct or?
I've not heard it called that before. May I ask, it was an outside firm or was it an inside recruiter?
It was an outside, so I still don't know the name of the company. He hasn't shared that with me yet. So we're still, going back and forth. He's going to present my resume for an interview and such, but
Don't let him present it unless you know who the company is. Never, ever, ever.
Because they could be taking that information, doing something else with it. If they
Yep.
won't give you the company, what does that say about them?
Yep. Don't do it yet. You're already giving them much more information than they need right now until you know who it is.
yeah, because he's saying it's confidential. It's and all this other stuff that's Chicagoland, and he's giving me other information, but he won't tell me what the company is.
So the only time that a company is, the reason he's holding back is if he doesn't want you applying on your own, or
Right.
it's not a real position.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they hesitate that way, tell them that you will not proceed further. That you need to know who the company is to make sure that it's one that you're interested in, that you think will be a fit for your background, okay, where you'd be comfortable working. Also, you want to make sure that you are protecting her, because if you've already applied to that role, you don't want him to get caught in the loop of trying to present you second. Okay, so do it in the sense of protecting the recruiter, not just yourself, but don't provide any additional information about these roles unless you know who the company is.
Did you look up the recruiter on LinkedIn, by the way?
I did, because I was a little skeptical, because he actually contacted me like 3 weeks ago or so. And we were going back and forth, and he was going to call me, and then he was kind of ghosting me. So I just thought, well, it's like, forget it, right? So I did look him up to make sure he was legit and everything, and it seems like he is. And then all of a sudden he contacted me again yesterday. So
yeah, if they're asking you to do additional work to be submitted, that to me is a red flag.
Okay.
If they're not telling you who the company's name is when they're asking you to do that work, that is a huge red flag.
Okay. And also, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. It's not a common term that we see. And you can say, oh, it's interesting that this is what they're requesting. I would need their definition and their parameters or an outline for what this company expects.
I did ask for a template. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Excellent.
Did you also ask for more information about well, you don't know who the company is.
Yeah.
One of the reasons for getting that additional company information, how do you align to a job if you don't know what the priorities of the company are?
Exactly. He won't even tell me the location of the company.
I mean, we're all very cynical here just because of our experience. It's not that we don't want the best for everyone, but we've just cynical.
No, thank you for that. Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so Juliet has a question here. Former manager. Juliet, do you want to go on the screen and ask the question?
Sure. Hi.
Hi.
So I finally got back a LinkedIn recommendation from a former manager and colleague that I had requested it from. And so I've never done this, or at least I don't remember doing this in years. So there's an action for me, add it to the profile. So I'm just wondering, before I add it, Should I be preparing to comment on it? Is that an opportunity for me to create some visibility here so people see some new information added to my profile? Or is that really, what's the word? Is that really a little too much bragging about yourself to try to comment on it? Do people do that? Do you comment once you make it live, a recommendation, or you just put it there and leave it alone?
Is this manager on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, actively on it?
Oh, well, not lately, but she used to have a whole blog. So people, yeah, she's got a
So the
nice
way you
following.
might handle it, if she got on it, she's done something. You might handle it about making a general post, sort of what I call opportunities to show gratitude and engage. It might be, I was really surprised and pleased to see this recommendation from so-and-so come through. It's been a while since we've been able to be in, talk about the long ties and long duration of things and how busy people are. So you're not bragging. Remember, it's a fact, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fact.
Even the steps you took to get it.
Right, you're phrasing it as a lesson, like don't give up on anybody. Asking for recommendations, as we all know, it's like pulling teeth, even if you give them the wording you want included. But that way, she'll get a flag in her email saying, it's from LinkedIn saying, oh, so-and-so mentioned you, Juliet mentioned you in the post. But it also helps people see, I didn't expect this because I know she's busy and it's been a while. So don't ever give up. There's always a way and blah, 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 something like that. It doesn't have to be a
those
long
are great
post.
ideas, Sue. And I hope I didn't mislead you. I just want to clarify. I literally requested it of her. I helped write something for her.
That's okay.
It's been a month, I was just waiting for her to get around to it.
But that's the message.
I didn't know if you thought I literally was surprised by it.
If people want a recommendation from me, I have a whole form they have to fill in. I mean, it depends whether it's for an application and there's a deadline and requirements I have to follow. But, acknowledge a month is a long time. And you can say, it wasn't on my radar for the last couple of weeks. It dropped off our list. And it's not like you followed up all the time and said, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? You're just using it as a way. And it's always a nice surprise to receive someone's nice words about yourself, right? Tell me what you last reserved or, have some call to action. I'm not good at CTAs at the ends of my posts. All right, I'll let
Thank
Linda
you. That's helpful.
And Ken
what were you saying,
It's
Ken?
also a good learning exercise to show other people the steps you took to get it.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I mean, I always like to say, this is what I do. This is what I was able to do, and it becomes a mechanism for other people to even engage on what you did, possibly.
Yep. The other thing
like, be a little more forthright about, in this time period that I've been job searching, I've been improving my profile.
Yep.
One of the things I did was blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
sure.
see.
Yeah, sure.
I know it sounds so obvious, but this is like definitely me trying to get out of the comfort zone to create posting like you started with. So at the beginning of the call, I actually did a comment yesterday. It was the first time. So I'm working on it.
For you. Congratulations.
All right. That was helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
And one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is that I know that you drafted something for her. Did she add anything beyond what you drafted?
I drafted way more than I thought she needed. And I put in like pro tip, like this is what I'm hoping you get across. However you want to write it. I know you're a great writer. So you either use what I gave you for your time or go at it. And I would say she mostly wrote her own.
Perfect. So then,
but she followed like a template I sort of suggested that like ChatGPT gave me.
That's okay. So here's the other thing that you can use as part of your post. I was so excited to see how she valued X.
Okay.
Okay. That helps. That's your brag. Okay.
Yeah.
For your background, in addition to commenting about the fact that she did it.
Thank you. Very helpful.
And DM me so that I can write a comment on it.
Right. Both of us.
I say all the time to people, don't make me do your work for you. And that's what I tell people when they want a
Right.
recommendation. I know it takes a while for the brain to process the way I phrase it, but it gives me a chance to engage and reinforce the value of lunch and learn, the value of the advice you got from the three of us coaches. I'm also thinking, oh, I should do a gratitude post.
Okay.
Cool.
In
So
fact, Ken,
always
I
do.
don't think I've ever written you a reference.
I
I'm
was
a
thinking about the same thing for you
recommendation.
two. I haven't either. I need to do both of those.
All right, that will be
And then
top of
I
my
have to,
list
I
for
think I
the
have to
next
do them for you too. You and
week. I'm looking at it thinking, I can't believe all that time with Brenda and we listened
Right.
during job
Yeah.
seeking hours, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you hear it here. The coaches don't get everything done either.
No,
No, of course.
we need to do those too. So please go do those.
So Michelle, you had a question, Michelle? Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, I actually had two comments from the two prior speakers. So, the person who was talking about the sort of confidential company, I've had that twice recently. Once when a company was still in stealth mode, and once when there was an executive still in role. And the way that ultimately was circumvented in terms of being able to share more was for me to sign an NDA.
Right.
And then the recruiter was able to share more. So one angle might be, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the best information to put me forth to the organization. Would it be helpful if I signed an NDA? That way we could speak with more candor and I could ensure that I'm providing you with the information most relevant to the role. So that was just one thing I wanted to mention because I have done that in a couple circumstances. The other piece, just a thought in terms of the recommendation. I would use that as an opportunity for either if the person was your manager, a leadership LinkedIn post wherein you share the comment and you say, one of the things that's really been invaluable in my career is leaders and mentors who really have guided me along my career journey. Just wanted to thank X for her recommendation of me and also to really shout out to her in terms of the career guidance, mentorship, and support that she has provided me. So, and if it's a colleague, you can talk about more of a cross-functional collaboration, but I would perhaps maybe not just only have the post be about the fact that you got a referral or recommendation, but more about the fact of make some sort of statement on leadership, on mentorship, and the role that has played for you. And the benefit of that is then she's going to engage, she's going to say something else positive about you, and then you're going to get broader reach on your post. So just a thought in terms of another angle to take.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great thought. I love it. Thank you.
I see Kim's got her hand up.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Now that I've been out of work for almost a year and a half, and now I do have to worry about my gap, and I'm just very nervous because I never had to worry about that. I didn't care if it was 3 to 6 months. Now that, and I understand volunteer work is very important, and I don't really know what to say besides I'm taking trainings like in AI. I make sure I stick with my industry on resource management webinars, whether from the software companies. They have those for resource managers because it's very niche. So that's how I'm keeping myself, in the know. I don't know if that's going to be totally acceptable. I would think so. Volunteer work, I can only do things remotely. I don't have a vehicle. I'm limited mobility. And so I don't even know what I can do within that. I was thinking, well, maybe these companies could use my volunteer work. I haven't reached out yet. I just don't know what to do for a volunteer organization that's going to at least have a stronger connection to something along resource management or similar types of strong transferable skills that not just, not something silly, something that has some
So
meaning.
not just petting dogs.
Yes. So that's where I'm struggling with right now.
I think you've got an opportunity, and again, it's an upcoming topic, to talk about how you all are staying current, how you're applying what you learn. There's a couple things that, Kim, you can do and benefit from that sounds like maybe you haven't searched widely. I know there's a global database of volunteer opportunities where you can volunteer for almost anybody in the world can put in something they need help with. From things like Read to the Blind, where they can contact you if they need something read, which is something that I did years ago and it dropped off my list and it's back on my I need to get involved. But when you think about resource management, again, think more broadly. Use the LLMs, whatever you want, to get sort of more ideas. How does this play out? Where are volunteers needed? Because sometimes it's as simple as getting in touch with a small NGO and giving them an idea. You may not be looking for volunteers, but I wanted to let you know I have 5 hours a week that I could do X remotely. I'm willing to be, up at 6 in the morning or 10 at night to talk to the Philippines, whatever it is. I'm not saying it has to be global. I'm just saying expand your horizon. And then it weaves into the fact that all this learning isn't going to a waste and you're doing more learning by you're applying it. That's what you asked about. That's what you want to do. And I work a lot on helping people value experience that doesn't seem like experience to them.
Exactly.
Could you clarify NGO?
Yes, non-governmental organization. It's the same as a not-for-profit or nonprofit or
Thank you.
NGO in the global world. It came from the U.S. government because that's how they certify these these companies' ability to handle money. So it's a formal term in the U.S. government world that I was in for many years.
I love that. Thank you.
People have been sharing links in the chat. LinkedIn has it. Well, you can also search on LinkedIn on your volunteer. Same way. But I mean, take a look at all those resources because I'm sure they'll be helpful.
Okay, thank
The
you.
other thing, Kim, is as you mentioned, the term resource management is a very niche term. Use one of your AI tools to come up with other types of titles, areas that you can look at, not just in terms of your job search, but when you're offering your services to any kind of volunteer organization, you can broaden it based on what they can get out of it, rather than the fact that you want to do something in terms of resource management.
Right, because it could be like workforce is another word, they'll use the word workforce, but you're right, it could be another type of skill like with the data analysis and things like that. So yes, thank you.
It can simply be a piece of it, not all of it.
Yes.
But use it to really determine what else you can do and what other titles there might be out there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Lisa Beth. Oops, I lost you.
Okay, first, can I just give Kim a tip?
Yes.
You hit my sweet spot. So Kim, something you can offer volunteer organizations, they will probably love you for this. And if you have time to do it, offer them that you will call and thank their donors, only thank them and not ask them for anything.
I would love to do that.
Okay, as a professional, as someone who likes to build things and from communities and respond and help them feel good about what they're doing, because I'm not a fundraiser anymore. This is something that most organizations do not do. They always ask, but they don't thank without a follow-up. You are strictly helping them thank their constituency for being a part of their world and showing them they're appreciated. You call any organization, call the small ones. Don't start with the cancer them because they have a script you read. But if you call some of the smaller ones in your community, your library, your local special needs organization, they're going to be so happy to have you. And ask them help them register their volunteers for your local walk or whatever. You can do that and organize them. That's a big need. So you can reach out to me privately. I'll go crazy.
Okay. Okay, good. I'll definitely do that with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So my follow-up question is, with these executive positions now in leadership, the interviews will happen, and I know the next stages is going to be doing a project for them. And I know, Linda, you and I have talked about this in the past about what I'm going to be giving them and not giving them. This is going to be a requirement. These are CEO positions. These are major leadership positions that are going to be evaluated by a board. Now, what extent am I giving them the information because I now have to give them more than I would have before. Obviously, I can't leave it hanging. How am I doing this?
And actually, you just did a project post about this a couple of days ago too.
About doing
Yeah.
work assignments,
Yep.
but this is at the CEO level.
know,
And I
These,
think
these
it's
are all
different.
executive levels.
Executive roles, yeah.
So to some extent, Elizabeth, it depends on what it is they're asking for. Do you have an idea what kinds of things are going to be asked?
Nope, not yet. I'm sure they're going to be business plans. These are going to be business plans as to what I'm going to be able to do to produce for them in the next.
So this is for an
6 to
interview
18
or
months.
something? This is for
Yeah.
an interview?
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of the post I did before
Yeah.
about should you do, how much should you do for free from the perspective of a job interview? I mean, and I said this kind of skeptically. Sometimes places do it because they don't have the people there to do the work for them, so they're looking at you for free labor.
Yep.
So every situation's different, but your time is money.
Yeah.
I can't answer for everyone. That was the chat. That was the post that went viral because I really didn't know that there was one right answer. But you should never do for free anything unless you really feel comfortable with it. You could ask what their rate is. You'd have to charge them perhaps, or maybe say that do a watermark on what you do so
Right.
it can't be used again. So they can't take it as their own stuff. I mean, again, it's hard to know. I'm a big believer the companies are just taking advantage of job seekers in general.
Here's
the
the
fine line.
Oh,
this is
go ahead, Linda.
You want me, should I go or
I
not?
said, yeah, there's a fine line between giving them information to show what you can do and then giving them a work product that they can use on their own.
Yeah.
And that's what our concerns are from all of us.
Well, and
this is-
again, that's because my specialty is building something from nothing. And that's the only way to do that.
Mhm.
Is say, here is how I would do it.
Or
And
you
I'm
can
not
do,
sure
here's how I
how
have done
to
it
change
elsewhere.
that.
Yeah,
I would go
don't.
with, yeah.
They could take what you have and do something
They're going to
with it.
do it. They're going to, that's why I don't know how to say, here's how I might go about it without saying, here's what I would do. Because if I tell what I would do, it's the plan. It's what I do.
You could do it as a scenario-based thing, something like that, like for a small company, whatever it is. But you have the valid concern. A lot of people do.
Mhm.
They're just going to take it as their own. And what's your recourse?
Right.
I don't have any, and I have a formula that I've done over. So that's why I'm very concerned about how to
Mhm.
do this.
Are you jumping ahead? Where is this in the interview process? My experience recruiting at the CEO level, being recruited, being in a big company that recruited at that is, it came down to the final two candidates. Now, in that case, I can see putting more work into it, and I'll take a sort of in-between step about the scenario. But it shouldn't be asked at the second interview. It shouldn't even be asked at a panel of the other CEOs. And you can use words like, this is trademarked, if it is. This is intellectual property that's copyrighted. And they'll say, well, it's copyrighted. Yeah, but just because it's copyrighted doesn't mean you have to share it. So you can use your power to put some roadblocks in and say to them, so maybe you have a panel interview at the second interview, the first interview goes well. And you say, and they say, oh, we want, or we're thinking about, and you can say, I welcome getting to the final two, and I'm very happy at that point, because that says you are top of the list with two people. And then you can put forward something that takes whatever's available for them publicly, and now we know ChatGPT and all the LLMs can do something and research something, and you put their context into a process. You don't have to put every step in. You can say, here's what's worked for a company your size in the past, or from whatever the startup is. So I'm just trying to give you some cues to now I can see your wheels turning about, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about it right now. I have a script for how to say no without saying no until they show their cards.
And
okay, thank you.
the later in the process that you can get with that project, the better off you are. Not only because you know more about what they are looking for, what their hot buttons are, because they've already told you, you know what some of the problems are they're trying to solve, and you can deal with that. But again, it's to the stage of now we're at the point where you're really serious about me and I'm serious about you. I'm feeling more comfortable sharing this kind of information. You're not saying that, but that's exactly what it is. My view for a lot of this is that you don't need to go into great detail with it. Here's the process that I would use. Here are some of the steps that I would take without laying out the full scenario. If you do, you might give it for one aspect, but not for the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can pull in, here's what an example of what I did in another organization, and here's the process.
Oh, that's a good way to go. I like that. Okay. All of
That
this.
way it's not, and I love the idea of process is a lot better in terms of doing it because you're not giving them everything. You're giving them what you would do.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a different way of thinking about it. That's very helpful.
You're welcome. Do we have any additional questions?
Nothing in the chat so far.
Okay. While I'm giving you that opportunity, I want to remind you that next week we have Carrie Bryson, who's going to be coming on, and she's going to be talking about moving from interview to offer. So using your interview responses to help you move from stage to stage and being able to really not just sell, but explain what you do and how it would work for them, turning it into their why. The week after that, which would be the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be doing, that's going to be our roundtable discussion, I think. Is that awful that I don't remember exactly the order?
Same thing happens to me, Linda.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So while I look at this, so when
I
I
know
talk,
it's going to be something important.
It's always important. That's why we're here.
Yeah. There we go. So let's see. Oh, so next week we're actually doing a whole conversation about following up and staying on their radar. Okay. How do you find the right people to follow up with or to reach out to? How do you follow up and stay on their radar without becoming a nudge and without becoming a stalker? And then on the 26th, that's going to be our roundtable discussion where we're talking about what kinds of classes are you taking? What skills do you think are going to be important? What classes have you taken that work for you and that you would recommend? Where did you find them? How are you paying for them? Are they free? It's going to be that full open discussion so that you're sharing with us, you're teaching us what works for you. And we're going to go through several different scenarios. If you've taken AI courses, which ones, why? If you've taken project management courses, is there something else that you're doing, the data analytics? What areas do you think are going to be most important? And we're going to pull up some of the skills that we think are going to be most important as well in terms of what we're seeing in the marketplace. Okay. All right. Remember, if there are no more questions, remember to copy the chat. Oh, I see. Claudette, would you care to turn on your camera and join us on the screen?
Sorry, I'm like adjusting things on my screen right now with my phone. So,
that's okay.
But at least you can hear me. That's good. I was saying, I was thinking, had a recruiter screen and I had a hiring manager interview, and I wrote my thank you note. It moved very quickly. I think within the same week, I think everything, like within a week, everything was scheduled. So I did my thank you note. What do you, I'm just trying to get a sense of whether, I know right now that they're trying to, sorry, my dog, they're trying to assess, right? So maybe another candidate, could be internal, could be whatever. They said they would get back at the end of that interview a week. They said by the end, we're moving fast and we should know more in a week. So I wrote my thank you note immediately to try to, make sure I stayed top of mind. Do you think that I would get a response to the thank you note beforehand, or they would just let it sit? Is really my question until they decide, given that they said they were going to take a week.
They're going to sit. They're not going to respond to your thank you note.
Yeah, I figured. I figured at this point.
So what you could do, if they said in a week, unfortunately, those are always aspirational dates. We can't hold them to it. But what you could do is say, I know how quickly, do a follow up. I know how quickly you're moving. Is there any additional information I can provide? And oh, by the way, here is my schedule. Here's my availability for the next week or two. I'm looking forward to our next conversation. It's not asking them why they didn't get back to you, not asking when they will. It's that soft close of, I know you're going to call me. And by asking if there's additional information, you are still keeping yourself there. But only do that once. Okay, you can send two additional, you can actually break it into two messages if you like. One is there any additional information? Second message, if you still haven't heard after another week, I know how quickly you said you wanted to move. Here's my availability. I'm excited to move to the next step. Does that help? Did we lose her?
Well, I have a question, since I think
got you.
So I'm going through external recruiters' websites like the Corn Ferries, etc., and registering in their system, right? So they have my information. My question is, so I have a 6-page CV because I could be CTO, Chief Architect, VP of Engineering. So my question is, should I upload that 6-page one into theirs, or cut it down to 2 or 3 or what?
I'll tell you, I'm used to working with long CVs in the global world, but they still need to be very senior. That's okay. You can do 2.5 to 3 pages. Here's the thing you're trying to do. You're trying to squeeze too much into it because you are flexible. You don't need descriptions of anything except your most recent 5 years. Those should be where the power, the impact, the evidence is, because those are probably at the level you're aiming at. If you want to make sure, for example, I once had someone contact me and say, why did you send me a 10-year CV, Sue? I don't find your work in Turkey anywhere. I said, well, that was 10 years before. And they said, well, we want to know that you live there and whatever. I'm just saying, you can list that stuff at the bottom. But remember, that stuff is almost never going to be seen unless you rise in the top of the candidate. The first half of the page, the top screen, however you want to look at it in landscape, that's what people want to see. So you need to have your impact there. You need to have your evidence there. And don't waste space on your name being this big and everything else being tiny. 1-inch margins on the left, 0.6 on the right. Good formatting, and try to give as much evidence-based results as you can. It's hard to cut our lives out. Believe me, I work with people to tell their story in 4 or 5 lines, and it's a challenge, but you can do it. Michael, I believe in you. I believe in you, especially where I didn't think about the red team as a title, but I have used, like Elizabeth was describing, I think she said, the 2 different LLMs to say, what are you seeing here? Get that help and then rewrite it in your voice. And if you feel uncomfortable, DM Linda and me together, send it to us, and we'll take a deep breath and tell you it's mostly great. Here's what you need to include if you are feeling panicked, okay?
Okay.
And I
Thanks.
agree.
Because you
So-
can cut down, listen, I've done it. I had someone
Yeah.
who had a whole one-page summary, which defies the definition of.
I know.
I believe in you, and I have to drop off, Linda. I've got to know.
Thank you so much, Sue, for doing this.
Yep,
Okay.
see you all. It was a great meeting today. Really, really good, deep questions about things that you bring up. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Michael, here's one additional take. Honestly, most of the time, we're only going to look at the first page. If it moves to the second page, I may look if I'm really interested, but the information needs to really be easy to read. Don't make me work for it. 6 pages is much too long. I agree with the 2 to 3 pages max. And for most cases, 2 pages is really good. The other thing is, when you say you're registering in their system, is this just a general, or are you seeing whether or not there is a position that is available?
No, it's putting your resume up there so they can search for you if they get a position.
Okay. So my recommendation, having been the outside recruiter, is I would much rather that you apply for one of my openings and that your cover letter is, if you have if you have another area that you think I would be a better fit, I am happy to share additional information. I have also done X, Y, and Z.
Gotcha.
But that gives me the push to look at your resume rather than it just being something gathering dust. And I don't mean that gathering dust, but just there for something else.
Yep. I appreciate it. Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome. Okay. We're at 12:30 or 1:30 Eastern time. Any additional questions before we wrap up the meeting? Okay, then I am going to stop the recording and stop the live stream.